Hello and welcome back to the channel. Yesterday there was a post made by Game Informer on their website, which was essentially them announcing that they would have a Forsaken themed Destiny 2 Game Informer magazine essentially. So they had an exclusive scoop essentially on the Forsaken DLC for Destiny 2. This was obviously purchased by some people, and I don't have a subscription to Game Informer, but some people do, and they posted stuff on Reddit about it. So there is the original sort of announcement article, the August cover, which it has the August cover for the magazine, but also has a wee teaser video. So I'm going to go over that first, and then I'm going to go over another post, which is all the information in the Game Informer article, which you have to pay for, I think. So if you do kind of want exclusive stuff in games, go and subscribe to Game Informer, or even just watch one of your YouTube videos and then an article or whatever, because what they do is actually, they have really good articles, so definitely go and check them out if you're interested. But there's the original video, which I will have a link to in the description of the video, which is a 50-second video, 50-second short video, which is just a teaser. And there's a few things shown, which is, first of all, there's an overcharged scatter grenade that throws you forward, or that you threw forward, sorry. So it's basically a different type of grenade for Warlock, I think. There is the Dreaming City public event, so it's been confirmed that Dreaming City, it's a raid location, so it's a location for the raid in Forsaken. However, it also is a social area, so it's actually I think it's as big as Nessus. It's said in the other post, where it's literally, it is another planet essentially. It's not a planet, but I would say this means that the Reef and the Dreaming City are probably about the same size, and that basically means we're getting two new planets, or two new locations of actual decent size with this DLC, which is pretty good. There's public events in Dreaming City as well, so I think there's one we know of so far, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. There's a 7 rocket inventory rocket launcher, so there's a rocket launcher which holds 7 rockets, but this has been edited, so apparently that rocket launcher does hold 7 rockets, so it's not really noteworthy. There's a clip of a Hammer Titan, there's a new Gambit map, and there's an Escalation Protocol activity in the Dreaming City apparently, so that's pretty cool with Scorn. So I'm glad that they're bringing that forward, because even though I haven't really done much with Escalation Protocol, it's a very good event, and I'm very happy they're bringing it forward because people seem to like it. There's also a new exotic auto rifle, and there's a Pike Baron with a raid symbol to the left of its name, which to me I think is placeholder stuff, because they're not going to show the raid boss, and the raid boss is in the Dreaming City, and I highly doubt we're going to have any of the Barons be in the Dreaming City. So I think it's meant to be an adventure, and it's been said before that the first 6 Barons, I think, can be done in whatever order you want, but then there's 2 that you have to do as the final ones, and then you have to find Uldren for the last mission or something like that. So I think that's how that works. There are kind of spoilers in this next article, but if you want to go to that post, it was submitted by Knives696, and then there was a summary made by Blim771_Kyle. So yeah, and then I'll have a link to the actual article video in the description. So it's literally a 50-second teaser article, but it's got quite good information there, and you can buy the magazine if you want for seeing the actual video, which I might do if you can buy it without subscription, so we'll see. For this other article, there is quite a lot of information. I'm not going to go over all of it, so you can find a post. The post is made by, it's Danny1, I think, so I'll link that in the description as well, but I'm not going to go over the entire post because there's some spoilers in it, and I'm not really, I'm not fussed about some things. So basically, Forsaken is about hunting Uldren essentially, and in the first mission, if you have not seen the teaser trailer for Forsaken, Cayde dies, which I'm pretty sure everyone knows, and in the first mission that's when you see him die, which we know that. There's the Scorn are a type of Fallen, but corrupted ether and repeated reanimations have mutated them, so basically they're a type of Fallen, which we already knew, and Scorn also locked in the deepest parts of the Prison of Elders. There's a bunch of other stuff like different towers which provide buffs to enemies and debuffs to us, it would appear. The Scorn are the most aggressive Destiny 2 enemy types. The game goes out of its way to try to make us hate Uldren as much as possible, which is, they did a good job with that with the teaser trailer. I'm very happy that they're actually doing it, because that's kind of what we wanted. There's also, so I guess this is kind of spoilery, but we kind of already guessed this because it is an Awoken sort of focused DLC. So there tries to be a balance as Uldren kills Cayde, trying to find his sister, and we also go after Uldren for killing Cayde. So it's kind of like a circle. Uldren kills Cayde on his way trying to find Marisov, I guess, and then because she went missing in the Taken King, and then we try to find Uldren because he killed Cade, and then I guess Uldren also is trying to kill us because we're going after him or something. I don't know. But then I think Marisov actually likes us, so I'm not really sure how that works. So yeah, it's kind of like a circle. There's also new subclasses. There's 9 of them. You can yet again go into the article or go into the Reddit post and find descriptions of them. Basically, there's not actually new supers that would appear. It's just heavy modifications to the other supers. Although I guess some of them are actually like new supers, like the laser beam that I think it's the Stormcaller Warlock has now. There's other stuff which is Forsaken campaign takes place in Tangled Shore. None of the actual campaign takes place in the Dreaming City, so that's where the raid is. So basically, the Tangled Shore, which is part of the reef, is where the main missions take place and where the actual campaign takes place. Then the Dreaming City is after the campaign, and that's where the raid takes place. But we can go to both of them and explore them at our own pace, and there's public events for both, it would appear. So they're their own places, but they also have implications for the different sides of the story. It's also said that regular Fallen also attack the Scorn, the Hive, and the scattered Red Legion enemies in the Tangled Shore. So basically there's regular Fallen, Scorn, Hive, and Red Legion all in the Tangled Shore, which is kind of cool. And there's all the different barons are shown as being like different strike bosses essentially. They aren't strikes. From what I gather, they're adventures, but you have to do the adventures in order to unlock the rest of the campaign. So they are story missions, but they're adventures, so you can choose them whatever order you want. And the actual barons themselves have mechanics like strike bosses, I guess is what they mean. So they're kind of like adventures with strike bosses at the end, I guess is how we should describe them. There's a new public event called Cryocell Escape for the Reef, or for the Tangled Shore as well, which is a cell from the Prison of Elders crashes down, and then enemies try to retrieve their captive leader. You have to survive a few waves, and then the pod opens and you fight the leader, which was held in the cell. So it's kind of cool. It sounds like a standard public event, to be honest, but it seems like a cool idea for a public event. There is lost sectors in Tangled Shore, and they seem to be Fallen related, so one contains a Fallen back market, and one might be a Fallen dance club, that sort of thing, which is pretty cool. The end of the campaign apparently teases a greater threat, which we don't know what that is, but I can kind of assume it might be Savathun or something, because that's been teased heavily in Destiny 2. Ammo is no longer directly tied to weapon slots. Many archetypes are moving to the power slot. Hawthorne's Field Forged Shotgun is now kinetic. There's a bunch of different stuff with... this is actually good because this breaks down the whole ammo sort of situation with different weapons being in different slots. So primary and secondaries using wide ammo are auto rifles, bows, hand cannons, pulse rifles, scout rifles, sidearms, and SMGs. Primaries and secondaries using green ammo are breech-loaded grenade launchers, fusion rifles, shotguns, snipers, and trace rifles. And then power uses purple ammo, so drum-loaded grenade launchers, linear fusion rifles, rocket launchers, and swords. So it seems as though they're basically switching up the primary and secondary ammo, but then power uses the same ammo as before. Main ingredient is now in the energy shell. I'm not sure what main ingredient is. I think it's a gun or something. The Dreaming City is a long hidden home of the Awoken, essentially, with a bunch of different stuff surrounding this stuff. This is what I was talking about. Just like the Tangled Shore, the Dreaming City is a full-size destination about the size of Nessus, which is pretty big actually, because Nessus is actually pretty big. It's one of the bigger places in Destiny 2. You won't go to the Dreaming City during the campaign. There's a quest after the campaign to rebrand access to the Dreaming City. Forsaken moves the level cap from 30 up to 50, and the power cap up to 600 from 380. So that's pretty cool, because that, I mean, to be fair, this is the only expansion we're actually getting for years, I guess, so it makes sense. The Dreaming City is the most picturesque work the developers produce, which makes sense because it looks incredible, and it is also infected by Taken. So basically this DLC is all of the enemies in it, but they're mainly Fallen and I guess Taken focused, I guess. There's a 3-week cycle on how the Dreaming City will appear, so the Dreaming City changes would appear. Petra Venge is the new vendor and guiding character for the Dreaming City, and there's other missions and secrets that will be revealed as it goes on. There's also apparently meant to be a 4-day reset cycle now instead of a week reset cycle, so that's pretty cool. I think that's just in general for the entirety of Destiny 2. It's not in this article, but I think it's mentioned somewhere else. The Dreaming City is also meant to be in the Ascendant realm as well as in real life. It's like between both realms. It's stuck in like a sort of shift between the two, so that's pretty cool. There's also a actual official statement saying from Barrett, I'm not sure what his first name is, maybe like John Barrett or something, I'm not sure. But he says that we wanted to shift the tone in Destiny to be a little bit darker. We want the tone of the story and the cinematics to actually reflect that, and that doesn't mean that the comedy and humor doesn't have a place in Destiny. It absolutely does, but it can't be every time a character speaks or every time the Ghost talks that they're trying to do a one-liner joke, which is good because that's what they were doing in the original campaign for Destiny 2. Ghost and all the characters basically making one-liners every time they talked. It's fine for Cayde to do that. It's fine for a couple characters to do that, but every time someone talks they make a joke, it's annoying. So I'm glad they're actually moving away from that, making it a bit darker. The director has been redesigned to provide intuitive guide to meaningful content, so flashing destinations when things are happening, and less focus on milestones. Not sure what that means, but we'll have to wait for more previews, probably September, to see how that works. There's also there's the other stuff we've seen, which is like the lore books and the rewards and the achievements books and that sort of thing, so we've seen that as well. There's a bunch of stuff, some stuff just isn't in this article, but the Vault is now expanding to 500 slots from the current 300. There's mods overhauls, which is pretty good. There's triumphs, which is what I was talking about, triumphs, which is an evolution of the record books. This also means, so not triumphs, but collections are becoming a tab in the inventory screen. So if you open up your inventory for your character, where all your like guns are, and you can customize your loadout and stuff, there's another tab which brings you to your collections, and anything you get in Destiny from the launch of Warmind from the launch of Warmind onwards will appear in that screen, and you can pay a fee in order to get those guns back. So if you've got stuff in your inventory or stuff in your vault which you don't want, you can discard that safely and it will show up again in your collections with Forsaken launching. You don't have to buy Forsaken for that, by the way. It comes as a free update with Forsaken's launch. So there's that. There's also exotic weapons and stuff like that, but that seems to be pretty much it, to be honest. You can also select strikes individually, which is another thing I saw somewhere else, where you can select strikes individually, because you can't do that at the moment. You have to go into like a playlist just of random strikes, so you can choose your strikes before launching it now, which is pretty nice. And I don't know if that's only for heroic strikes or if that's for strikes in general, but that's pretty nice because obviously some people prefer some strikes over others, so I'm happy they're doing that. But I guess I also kind of want there to be a random aspect to it as well, because sometimes I will just want a random strike and sometimes I will want to choose a strike, so I hope they still have the option for random strikes, but at the same time I do like the fact that you can choose strikes individually as well. But I'd say that's about it. So you obviously, Game Informer article is in the description. There's going to be a link to both of these Reddit posts as well. It's Danny1 did a very good job with all this, all these points from the article. I think there's a few missed out, but he did a very good job with this, so please go and look at his video, or not the video, sorry, go and look at his post if you want. There's stuff that I didn't cover because I'm just kind of scanning over it, so there's a bunch of stuff here, and yeah, that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider leaving a like, maybe subscribing, and I'll see you next one. Bye.